right, thank you for tuning into TTB. I'm your host, Toya, and today is Sunday, which means it is our fictional book review and recommendations for 2021. So I have three of them for you today, okay? Three books today. So before I get started in them, let me just go backtrack. For those of you who may be new to this channel and haven't seen me do these book reviews before, I actually listen to them through OneDrive. OneDrive is an online service that you actually get through your library card. So it's a free service. You pay taxes for it, and you can get things on there like you can learn another language, your kids can get tutoring, and all these other resources. In addition to that, you can listen to audiobooks for free. And they use the Libby app in order to do that. Now, I'm not a sponsor for any of this. I don't get paid to give you this information. This is just me sharing my wealth with you. Okay? That's because knowledge is wealth. So I'm sharing that with you. So if you want to listen to the audiobooks and you don't really want to spend money on it, because let's face it, that's a commitment and another bill. We don't always want another bill. So if that's you, then look below. You'll see the information for OneDrive as well as for Libby, which again is how I listen to these books for free. So the first one is called On the Horizon, and it was written and read by Lois Lowry. So this one, the lady she grew up in Hawaii. So when she was a kid, she was in Hawaii. And this one particular day, she's on the beach with her grandma. And her dad, I think, was the one who was actually filming it. He was doing, the home videos. And so some years later, she comes across this home video again and looks at it and sees that there was the big puff of smoke behind her in this video, like you can see it in the distance, and that was actually the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And even though she didn't remember it, because she was like, I think 3 years old when it happened, she didn't remember it until she saw the video, and that sparked her to do some more research. And so she found out about some of the people who were on the ship, what happened to them, who survived, and what ended up happening to them. So it's a very interesting story. And you might be thinking, Toya, how does this tie into this channel? Like, you about mind, body, and spirit, and having connections and feeling good. Like, how does this tie in? Well, sometimes things happen. And we go through these different events and experiences in our lives that may not be so good. Maybe something bad that happened to you when you were a child, or it may be something that you experienced on the playground when you was in school, or whatever that case may be. Maybe as you got older, something traumatic happened to you. But what happens is the way we process that, the way the way we process that, the way we feel about that, the emotion that we put into it, and the thought that we put into it, and how we build it up in our head is how we respond to it. So all her life, to her, it was just her playing on this beach with her grandma until she got older and saw it and realized that this was part of a major event that happened. And we sometimes have to look at the bad things that happen in our lives, or the negative or not so good, challenging, whatever word you want to use. Look at those things that happen in our life as just an event that happened. So you can acknowledge it, give it its due diligence, learn what you can from it, but don't internalize it and make it become you. So what I mean by that is, let's say you got robbed one time. That is a negative event that happened in your life. It doesn't mean that from that day forward, you have to let it rule and dictate everything you do when you step outside your door, because it was just an event that happened. So if you start to look at it as just an event instead of looking at it as such a traumatic experience, and you don't give it all that energy and you don't give it all that power, then you can easily overcome it and start to manifest and create better for you. So that when you do walk out the door, you can walk out that door knowing you're going to be okay. Knowing nothing is going to come from you, nothing going to happen, because you only draw what you want, what you create, what you think about. And if you're thinking about something in a positive light, or if you're thinking about positive things and you take those negative things that happen and you make them just an event, and don't give them any more energy than that. This is something that happened, you learn from it, and you keep going. So when you don't put all that negative focus and energy on that, and instead you put it on something else, then that is what you're going to attract, because we attract what we think. We attract and manifest in our lives what it is that we think about all the time and what we put our energy into. So don't put your energy into those old events, put them into the new ones, if you understand what I'm saying. And so she took that event that happened, she did go down, and she looked up, like I said, she looked up people who survived, she looked up people who died, where they are now. And there was even a kid that she was friends with that was an Asian kid in Hawaii at the time, and then she met him again later on in life, and they were able to sit down and have a conversation about it. So it was an interesting read. For 48 minutes. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it, only because you want to be careful what it is that you listen to and what it is that you read, which means I also need to start paying attention to these descriptions when I'm picking these books, okay? But I saw a little girl and a mom, they had on the horizon, sound like it was something that was going, yeah, so that was my bad, that was my fault. I should have looked, I should have read, but I did, it happened, so that's me learning from it. It's just an event. But anyway, so just because of the negative aspect of it, if you're not one who can dwell on that and can just see or hear about something in history that happened and understand what happened and look at it subjectively to where you're not putting yourself into it and becoming part of the victims of it, that you're looking at it as in a historical manner, then yes, go ahead and listen to it. It's 48 minutes. But if you're one of those that get wrapped up in emotions of other people and you go down that rabbit hole of everything that happened, leave this one alone, because you don't want to cause or bring that negative feelings and energy to you, okay? So that's what I'm going to say about that one. So the next one I want to talk about, it was called Juba. And this was written by Walter Dean Myers and read by Brandon Gill. This one was about 4.5 hours long, and it was about a guy who loved to dance. Like, that was his life. Everything centered around dancing. Like, he loved it. And Juba was actually a dance that they did in the South. Like, a lot of slaves. And I did look it up some, too. So, apparently, the slaves from Congo brought over this dance. I don't know. So, quick pause. So, I read somewhere that when you get a gnat in your house, especially when it keep flying around you, that it's actually one of your spirit guides or angels that look out or that's around you that's trying to communicate and talk to you. I don't know if that's what's happening, but this thing is annoying as all get out. And it keeps flying in my face. But anyway, I'm going to deal with that later. Because, you know, when you get bananas, they end up in your house. So, what you going to do? But in any case, I looked it up, and like I said, it was some slaves from Congo that traveled over here, ended up in South Carolina. And so they brought this style of dance with them that it has, from what I'm understanding and what I read in the book, it has a lot of arm movements to it. It's a lot of foot movements. It's almost like, it's very similar to like river dance. If you ever saw those people and their arms are down and they just, you know, yeah. So it's a lot similar to river dance, which was from the Irish culture. So he actually learned how to dance by watching the Irish dance. And that's how he came to do it, and he put his own twist on it, and I guess he came across some other stuff. They really didn't go into a lot of detail on how he came up with his style. But he did grow up watching the Irish dance and learned their dances as they were coming over to the Americas, coming over to America from Ireland. And he would be around them, watching them, because there were a lot of them in the area that he lived in. So he took on this dance, and that was his life. And nobody could move their feet as fast as him. And he was just a really good dancer, okay? And everybody loved to watch him dance, and he was known for it. And the thing I like about it is throughout this whole thing, he always visualized what it was that he wanted to do, where he wanted to be. But he never thought more in detail about how it was going to happen, what it looked like when it got there. So a lot of the things that he wanted and he was visualizing, he actually did make happen. And when it manifested in his life, it was like, okay, so how am I going to make this happen? Now that I got it, how do I do it? So now you're going to be performing. How do you perform? So it went through a lot of that with him. But the thing I like the most is how he visualized it, how he like seriously visualized, knew it was going to happen, knew he would do it. Even if he didn't know how, he still was able to manifest that. Now, the other part to it is he could dream big. He could dream real big. But when it came to actually executing and actually being there in that moment was where he had difficulty, because all he thought was dance. Every thought he had was dance. Every thought he had was around dance. And it wasn't like other dancers or things. It was him. So he was singing that song, you know, me, 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 me. Yeah, he was a singer. So he had people that were in his life at that time that helped him see other people and see the bigger picture and see how you bring the stuff together. Like once you get it, how do you bring it together? So he had people that were able to guide him and teach him, even if it was a little harsh sometimes, because one lady was harsh and then you had the other guy who was more like a father figure to him. And so you had the two of them together, and they were actually able to open his mind and get him to see the big picture. So that was the thing I liked about Juba. And also because I got to learn something new too, because I didn't know about Juba dancing, and that was a thing that the slaves did in the South. And it was because they, at one point, I guess they weren't allowed instruments because they didn't want them communicating anything. So this was what they did. So that was, again, Juba. The third book is called Swing, and it was written by and read by Kwame Alexander. So this one was four hours long. So, oh, Juba, I didn't mention that. Juba was actually around the slave time. So it was when you had the free men up in the north, but there was still slavery going down in the south. And it really became prevalent and really made him look at things a lot different when he went overseas. And they were talking to him about it, and you know, they couldn't understand that he was a black man and he was free because he came from the north. So this was still at that slavery time when somebody from the north could get caught and end up in slavery even though they were born free and have been free their whole life. So that was the time frame for Juba. Swing was more so this time. So this is like in today's to the present time. So you had two guys, Noah and Walter. So you have Noah. they sound so cute. I'm just going to tell you, they sound so cute. But you have Noah, who is scared and hesitant and doesn't want to do anything. He's not very outgoing. And then you have Walter, who's very positive, upbeat. Like, yeah, we going to make this happen. It's going to be our best year ever. You know, we're juniors in high school, and this is about to be our time. We're about to be some cool kids, okay? So you had Walter, who was able to manifest things in his life because of his upbeat personality. And then you had Noah, who had this negative outlook, who was scared and hesitant and unsure of himself and felt down about who he was. Both of these two together. And you had him, yeah, he got some manifestations, but it didn't work. Why? Because he was so negative. Which goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. You have to be careful about what you put your energy in. So you are like Noah and you're scared and you're putting all your energy in the hesitation and how you're not good enough and how you can't do something and how something won't work. Then guess what? You might get those times when you get put in a position to obtain something that you really want, but it's going to fail. Because that's where your mindset is, and that's where you're thinking. You're thinking, this isn't going to work, I don't deserve this, and that's exactly what's going to happen. If you're like Walter, on the other hand, where you're positive, you're upbeat, you know you're going to get the stuff that you want, you're working really hard to go to it, because let's face it, you can't just sit, you can't go nowhere standing still. Plain and simple. You can't go anywhere standing still. So you could think it and, you know, put them thoughts out there all day long, and then, but you still standing still because you haven't put any action into it. So Walter actually would put action into it and go out and learn stuff and find out things and practice, and he would do things to help himself, one, stay focused on what it is he's trying to manifest, and two, so when he calls it to him, he knows what to do. And he's not like, oh my God, it came. I don't even deserve this. How do I get this? What do I do now? So he didn't have to go through all that drama from it because he was already working towards it. So it's just like you. I know my best friend one time told me that somebody she was listening to said that you have to pray and pray and pray. So you pray hard, like you never prayed before on something, and then you let it go and you worked as if you never prayed on it. So you can do the same thing as far as meditation, because prayer is just meditation. This really is. You just focusing on praying to God. When you meditate, you can be meditating to God and have conversations with God. So prayer and meditation, they're basically the same thing. So when you're focusing on that and you're putting your energy and you put your mind on it and you sit there and you visualize it and like, yes, this is going to happen, you know, like we can make it happen. You can see it, you can feel it, you can smell it, like, you know, this is what's going to happen. And then when you get up from that meditation, you go work. You go work at it. Like you never prayed, like you never meditated on it or anything. You just go to work, because when you go to work, you're acting as if it happened. You're acting as if you already got it. You acting as if it's already coming. And that's what's going to make it come to you. That's what's going to keep that manifestation going, that visualization, that prayer that you had. That's going to keep it going, because now you're putting action to it as well, and you're working on it. So a mentor that I listen to a lot always says, you know, he says, ready, aim. No, it's fire, it's aim, fire, ready. So basically, I got the wording wrong. I shouldn't have even brought it up. But basically, you get your visualization, you feel as if you already have it, and then you go out there and you work to get it. So those were the 3 books today. That's how it kind of ties into everything that we talk about on this TV station, on this channel. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. You know, share the wealth, because knowledge is wealth. Some changes are coming, just to let you know, since I got you here already. Like and subscribe, because there's some changes that I'm going to be doing, some things I'm going to be adding to this channel, and I'm sure you don't want to miss it, because let's face it, it's good information. And like I said, knowledge is wealth. So hit the subscribe, do the notification bell so that you can get the future notifications on future videos, because like I said, it's a lot of changes that I'm making and I'm excited about, and I can't wait to share with you guys. So I love you. Happy Sunday. Do some manifestation, get your mind right, and remember, events are just that. It's just something that happened. So learn from it, process it, and then move on. Do not put so much energy in those negative events. Put energy in the positive ones. Put energy in the things that you want to manifest, because that's where it needs to go. All right, I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.